When a violent storm left wealthy consultant Eleanor Whitmore stranded and terrified, she knocked on the door of the first building she found, a rundown apartment building she'd never normally set foot in, and met Marcus Reed, a struggling black single father who had every reason to turn her away but didn't. What started as one night of reluctant shelter became an unexpected emotional reckoning that forced both of them to confront their deepest fears, his terror of losing someone again, her realization that success had left her hollow and alone. This isn't a story about rescue or charity. It's about two broken people discovering that healing begins when we allow ourselves to be seen, not saved, and that sometimes the richest life is built from the simplest acts of courage and presence. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. Because this story about choosing vulnerability over safety, connection over isolation, and love over fear will remind you that home isn't a place. It's the people who choose to stay. The sky looked angry. Marcus Reed noticed it the moment he stepped out of the community center where he'd just finished his shift cleaning floors and emptying trash cans. Dark clouds rolled in from the west, thick and low, the kind that promised more than just rain. The air felt heavy, pressing down on everything. He glanced at his phone. 6:47 p.m. The kids' after-school program closed at 7. He needed to hurry. Marcus walked fast, his work boots thudding against the cracked sidewalk. His back ached from 8 hours of mopping and scrubbing, but he pushed through it. That's what you did when you were a single father with 2 kids depending on you. You pushed through. The first drops of rain hit when he was still 2 blocks from the elementary school. Fat drops that splattered on the pavement and left dark spots on his gray work shirt. By the time he reached the building, it was coming down steady. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The hallway smelled like floor wax and old cafeteria food. Marcus found Jamal and Aaliyah in the gym, where the after-school program kept the kids when they were waiting to be picked up. Jamal saw him first. 10 years old, tall for his age, with serious eyes that watched everything. Dad, finally. Sorry, buddy. Got here fast as I could. Marcus ruffled his son's hair, then crouched down to hug Aaliyah. 6 years old, all smiles and braids with purple beads at the ends. She wrapped her arms around his neck. It's raining, Daddy. I know, baby girl. That's why we're gonna walk quick, okay? The program supervisor, Mrs. Chen, looked up from her desk. Storm's supposed to get bad tonight, Marcus. You all be careful. We will. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Outside, the rain had turned serious. Not a downpour yet, but heading that way. Marcus held Aaliyah's hand while Jamal walked beside them, his backpack slung over one shoulder. Thunder rumbled in the distance, low and threatening. Their apartment was 12 blocks away. No car. Marcus couldn't afford one on what he made. They walked everywhere, rain or shine. Today it was definitely rain. Daddy, I'm getting wet, Aaliyah said, her voice small. I know, baby. Just a few more blocks. The wind picked up, pushing the rain sideways. Marcus pulled both kids closer, trying to shield them with his body. Lightning flashed, turning everything white for a second, and thunder followed almost immediately. Aaliyah squeezed his hand tighter. It's okay, Marcus said, though his own heart was beating faster. Storm's just making noise. We're safe. By the time they reached their building, a 3-story brick walk-up with peeling paint and a front door that stuck, they were all soaked through. Marcus's shirt clung to his back. Aaliyah's braids dripped water. Even Jamal, who usually tried to act tough, looked miserable. They climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor. Apartment 2B. Home. Inside, Marcus flipped the light switch. The overhead bulb flickered once, twice, then stayed on. He let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Okay, you two. Dry clothes first. Then we'll figure out dinner. Aaliyah ran to the bedroom she shared with Marcus. He'd given up his room for Jamal when his son got older and needed privacy. Jamal headed to his own small room, already peeling off his wet shirt. Marcus stood in the tiny kitchen, dripping on the linoleum floor, and looked around. The apartment was small, cramped even, but it was clean and it was theirs. He'd worked hard to keep it that way after Janelle died 3 years ago. Heart attack at 32. Nobody expected it. Nobody was ready for it. Now it was just him and the kids, making it work one day at a time. The lights flickered again. Marcus frowned. The building's wiring was old, and storms always caused problems. He opened the cabinet under the sink and found the flashlights, just in case. Put fresh batteries in both of them last month. Small victories. Thunder boomed, closer this time, and Aaliyah shrieked from the bedroom. "It's okay, baby," Marcus called out. "Just noise." He changed into dry clothes, sweatpants and an old t-shirt, and checked on the kids. Both were dry now, safe in their rooms. Jamal was already doing homework at his desk, earbuds in, blocking out the storm. Aaliyah was playing with her dolls on Marcus's bed, talking to them in a whisper. Marcus went to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. Not much there. Some eggs, bread, a little bit of milk. He'd meant to go to the store yesterday, but his shift ran late, and then he was too tired. Tomorrow, he promised himself. Tomorrow, for sure. He was trying to figure out what to make for dinner when someone knocked on the door. Marcus froze. Nobody ever knocked on their door. Mrs. Alvarez from down the hall sometimes, but she had a key and usually just let herself in if it was important. Another knock. Harder this time. Urgent. Marcus walked to the door and looked through the peephole. A woman stood in the hallway. White, maybe 30 years old, soaked through just like they'd been. Her blonde hair was plastered to her head. Her nice clothes, a blouse and dress pants that probably cost more than Marcus made in a week, were ruined by the rain. She looked scared. Marcus didn't open the door. Not yet. "Can I help you?" he called through the wood. "Please," the woman said, her voice shaking. "My car broke down a few blocks from here. My phone's dead. The storm. I just need somewhere to wait it out. Please." Marcus hesitated. Every instinct told him to be careful. You didn't just let strangers into your home, especially not in this neighborhood, especially not when you had kids to protect. But the woman was clearly terrified, and the storm was getting worse by the second. He could hear the rain pounding against the building, the wind howling. "Daddy?" Jamal appeared behind him, concerned. "Who is it?" "Someone who needs help," Marcus said quietly, then louder through the door. "You alone?" "Yes, I swear, I'm alone. Please!" "I don't know what else to do." Marcus made a decision. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe he'd regret it. But he unlocked the door and opened it. The woman stood there dripping, mascara running down her face, looking like she might collapse any second. Up close, Marcus could see she was shaking, from cold or fear or both. "Come in," he said, stepping back. "Quick, before you flood the hallway." She stumbled inside, and Marcus closed the door behind her. For a moment, nobody said anything. The woman looked around the small apartment, taking in the worn furniture, the kids' drawings on the walls, the general sense of making do with what you had. Marcus watched her reaction, waiting for judgment. But she just looked relieved. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you so much." "You're soaking wet," Marcus said, stating the obvious. "Let me get you a towel." He went to the bathroom and grabbed the least worn towel they had. When he came back, Aaliyah was standing in the doorway of the bedroom, staring at the stranger with wide eyes. "Baby, go back in the room for a minute, okay?" Aaliyah didn't move, just kept staring. Marcus handed the towel to the woman. She took it with shaking hands and pressed it to her face. "I'm Eleanor," she said. "Eleanor Whitmore, but everyone calls me Elle. Marcus Reed. That's my son Jamal, and my daughter Aaliyah." Elle tried to smile at the kids. It came out shaky, but genuine. "I'm so sorry to barge in like this," she said. I was driving through the neighborhood when my car just died. The engine light came on and then it just stopped. And the rain got so bad so fast and my phone battery died, and I saw your building and—" She stopped, taking a breath. "I'm not usually like this. I don't usually fall apart." "Storm's bad," Marcus said. "You did the right thing getting inside." Thunder crashed so loud it rattled the windows. The lights flickered again, longer this time. Marcus grabbed one of the flashlights, just in case. "Do you have a charger?" Elle asked. "For my phone? I need to call someone, a tow truck, or my assistant, or—" "I've got a charger, but I don't know if it'll work with the power acting up like this." As if in answer, the lights went out completely. Aaliyah screamed. Jamal cursed under his breath. Marcus clicked on the flashlight, and the beam cut through the sudden darkness. "It's okay," Marcus said, keeping his voice steady. "Happens all the time in storms. Power'll come back." But even as he said it, he wasn't sure. This storm felt different, meaner. Ella stood in the middle of the living room, dripping on the floor, looking lost. In the flashlight beam, Marcus could see she was trying not to cry. "Here," he said, softening his tone. "Sit down. You're safe. We'll figure it out." She sat on the couch, still clutching the towel. Jamal brought candles from the kitchen. Marcus always kept a few on hand, and they lit them around the room. The flickering light made everything feel smaller, more intimate. Marcus found his phone and tried to get a signal. 1 bar. Maybe. He handed it to Elle. "Try calling someone. Quick, before it drops." Elle took the phone with trembling hands and dialed. Marcus heard a ringing sound, then nothing. The call dropped. "No signal," Elle said, her voice breaking. "I can't. There's no signal." "Storms probably knocked out a tower," Marcus said. "Happens sometimes." Ella looked at him, and in the candlelight, Marcus could see real fear in her eyes. Not just about being stuck. Something deeper, like the storm had cracked something open inside her. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. Aaliyah, who'd been watching from the bedroom doorway, walked over to Elle and climbed onto the couch beside her. "It's okay," Aaliyah said, repeating what Marcus always told her. "Daddy keeps us safe. He'll keep you safe, too." Ella looked at this little girl with her braids and her big brown eyes and her complete trust, and something in her broke. She started crying, not loud, just quiet tears running down her face. Marcus stood there, uncomfortable, not sure what to do. He wasn't good with crying women. Hadn't been good with it when Janelle was alive, wasn't any better now. But Aaliyah just leaned against Elle like it was the most natural thing in the world, and slowly, Elle's breathing evened out. "Thank you," Elle said again, this time to Aaliyah. "You're very kind." "You're welcome," Aaliyah said seriously. The storm raged outside. Thunder, lightning, rain hammering against the windows like it was trying to get in. But inside the apartment, in the candlelight, something had shifted. Marcus pulled up a chair and sat across from Elle. Jamal settled on the arm of the couch, watching everything with those serious eyes. "So," Marcus said, "since we're stuck here for a while, might as well get comfortable. You hungry?" Elle looked surprised by the question. I don't want to impose. You're already here, might as well eat." He went to the kitchen and started pulling out what little they had. Eggs, bread, some butter. He could make scrambled eggs and toast. Not fancy, but it was food. While he cooked on the gas stove, thank God it didn't need electricity, he could hear Elle talking quietly with the kids. Aaliyah was asking her questions in that direct way kids had. "Where do you live? Do you have kids? Why is your car so fancy?" Marcus smiled despite himself. Leave it to his daughter to ask the uncomfortable questions. When the food was ready, they ate by candlelight around the small kitchen table. 4 people crowded together, the storm raging outside, everything feeling surreal and intimate at the same time. Ella picked at her food at first, then seemed to realize she was actually hungry and ate more. Marcus noticed she had good manners, the kind that came from money, from being taught how to sit and hold a fork just right. "This is good," Ella said. "Thank you. It's just eggs. I know, but it's good." After dinner, Marcus sent the kids to bed. They protested. It was early, and they were keyed up from the storm. But eventually, they went. Aaliyah to Marcus's bed, Jamal to his room. Marcus gave them both flashlights and told them to stay put unless they needed something, which left him alone in the living room with Elle. She'd moved back to the couch, the towel draped around her shoulders like a blanket. Her hair was starting to dry, going from plastered down to wavy. She looked less put together now, more human. "I'm sorry about all this," she said. "You didn't ask for a stranger to show up at your door. You didn't ask for your car to die in a storm. No, but still." She was quiet for a moment. "You're very kind. Most people wouldn't have let me in." "Most people aren't decent," Marcus said. Then, because he needed to know, "You really alone? No one looking for you?" "I live alone, work alone. My assistant probably thinks I'm working late, which I do all the time." Ella's voice was flat. "No one's looking for me." There was something in the way she said it that made Marcus's chest hurt. He knew that feeling, the aloneness that went deeper than just being by yourself. "What do you do?" he asked. "For work, I mean." "I'm a business consultant. I help companies restructure, improve efficiency, that kind of thing." She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "I'm very good at telling people how to run their lives, not so good at running my own." Marcus didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the storm. The candles flickered. Shadows danced on the walls. It felt like they were the only people in the world. "Can I ask you something?" Ella said suddenly. "Sure." "Why did you let me in? Really? You don't know me. I could have been anyone." Marcus thought about it. "Because you needed help. And because I've been stuck before. Not in a storm, but stuck. It's a terrible feeling. I wouldn't wish it on anyone." Ella looked at him, really looked at him, and Marcus felt something shift between them. Recognition, maybe. Two people who understood what it meant to be alone. "Thank you," Ella said for the third or fourth time that night. "I mean it, thank you." "You're welcome." The storm began to ease a little. The thunder moved farther away. The rain softened from a roar to a steady drumming. Marcus checked his phone. Still no signal. "Looks like you're stuck here for the night," he said. "I'm sorry. It's not much." "It's enough," Ella said quietly. "It's more than enough." She pulled her bag onto her lap, an expensive-looking leather thing that had somehow survived the rain, and rummaged through it. After a moment, she pulled out a small leather-bound book. "Can I show you something?" she asked, her voice uncertain. "Okay." Ella opened the book, and Marcus realized it was a journal. The pages were filled with sketches, buildings, landscapes, abstract designs. They were good, really good. "I wanted to be an architect," Elle said softly. "When I was younger, before I got practical, before I chose a career that made sense." She traced one of the drawings with her finger. "I still sketch sometimes, dreams I never built." Marcus looked at the drawings, these beautiful detailed images of things that didn't exist, and he felt something crack open in his chest. Here was this woman who had money and success and everything that was supposed to matter, and she was just as stuck as he was, just in a different way. "They're beautiful," he said. "They're useless," Ella replied. "Pretty pictures that never became anything real." "Maybe," Marcus said. "Or maybe they're just waiting for the right time." Elle looked up at him, and in her eyes he saw something he recognized. Hope. Fear. The terrifying possibility that maybe it wasn't too late to want something more. The candles burned lower. The storm continued its retreat. and two broken people sat together in the darkness, neither one quite ready to admit that maybe, just maybe, they'd been waiting for exactly this moment. Marcus woke to silence, the kind of silence that felt wrong after a storm. He was on the couch, a thin blanket pulled over him, his neck stiff from sleeping at an odd angle. Gray morning light filtered through the curtains. For a moment he forgot about Elle. Then he remembered. The knock on the door, the storm, the journal full of unbuilt dreams. He sat up slowly, rubbing his face. The apartment was still dark, which meant the power was still out. Great. He checked his phone. 6:23 a.m. Still no signal. Ella was asleep in the armchair across from him, curled up small with a blanket Marcus didn't remember giving her. She must have found it herself. Her face looked younger in sleep, less guarded. Her clothes were still damp, probably uncomfortable, but she seemed too exhausted to care. Marcus stood carefully, trying not to wake her, and went to check on the kids. Both were still asleep. Aaliyah sprawled across his bed like a starfish. Jamal curled up tight in his twin bed. Safe. That's all that mattered. In the kitchen, Marcus tried to figure out breakfast. No power meant no toaster. But the gas stove still worked. He could do eggs again. Maybe heat up some canned soup if they had any. He opened the cabinet. 1 can of chicken noodle. That would have to do. He was heating the soup when Ella stirred. He heard her gasp. That small sound people make when they wake up somewhere unfamiliar and don't immediately remember how they got there. "Morning," Marcus said quietly from the kitchen. Elle appeared in the doorway, looking rumpled and embarrassed. "I fell asleep. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to impose all night. Where else were you gonna go?" "Storm's done, but your car's still dead." Ella ran a hand through her hair, wincing when she hit a tangle. "I must look terrible." "You look like someone who survived a storm." Marcus stirred the soup. "That's nothing to apologize for." Ella was quiet for a moment, then said, "Is that soup?" "Yeah, not much, but it's warm. You want some?" Yes, please. If there's enough, there's enough." They ate the soup straight from mugs, easier than using bowls when you had to wash dishes without running water. Ella held her mug with both hands, savoring the warmth. "I can't remember the last time I had canned soup," she said. "You're not missing much." "No, I mean—" Ella paused. "I eat at expensive restaurants, catered meals at meetings, everything perfectly prepared. But this," she gestured with the mug, "this tastes better. I don't know why." "Because you're actually hungry," Marcus said. "Real hunger makes everything taste good." Aaliyah appeared, rubbing her eyes. She saw Elle and brightened immediately. "You're still here!" "Good morning, sweetie." Elle smiled, and this time it looked more natural. "I hope that's okay." "It's okay. Do you want to see my dolls? I have 7. "Aaliyah, Miss Ellie probably needs to—" Marcus started. "I'd love to see them," Ella interrupted. "After breakfast?" Aaliyah nodded enthusiastically and climbed onto Marcus's lap to share his soup. Jamal emerged next, looking suspicious when he saw Elle still there. "Power's still out," Jamal observed. "Yeah, storm must have done real damage. When can she leave?" "Jamal," Marcus said, his voice holding a warning. "What? I'm just asking." Elle set down her mug. "It's fine. It's a reasonable question." She looked at Jamal directly. "I need to get to my car, see if it can be fixed or towed. Once I can charge my phone and call someone, I'll be out of your way. I promise." Jamal studied her for a moment, then shrugged. "Okay." After breakfast, the last of the soup split 4 ways, Marcus made a decision. "I'll walk you to your car. See what's going on. Kids, you stay here with Mrs. Alvarez." "I'll go get her," Jamal said, already heading for the door. While Jamal was gone, Elle looked around the apartment again. In the morning light, Marcus could see her taking in the details, the patched curtains, the mismatched furniture, the way everything was clean but worn. He waited for judgment, but her expression was something else. Shame, maybe. "You keep a nice home," Ella said quietly. "We do our best. It shows." She touched one of Alia's drawings on the wall, a crayon picture of 3 stick figures holding hands. "You're a good father. Your kids are lucky." Marcus didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded. Mrs. Alvarez arrived, a short woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She looked Elle up and down, then gave Marcus a questioning look. "Storm refugee," Marcus explained. "I'm gonna help her get to her car." "Mm-hmm." Mrs. Alvarez didn't look convinced, but she didn't argue. "You kids be good. Your papa will be back soon." Outside, the world looked different. Tree branches littered the sidewalks. A stop sign was bent at a weird angle. Someone's trash cans had ended up 3 houses down from where they started. The air smelled clean but electric, like the storm had scrubbed everything raw. Ella led the way, her heels clicking awkwardly on the wet pavement. Marcus noticed she was limping slightly. "Your shoes okay?" "They're not made for walking long distances in bad weather." She laughed without humor. "They're not made for real life at all, really. You can slow down. We're not in a rush." They walked in silence for a block. The neighborhood looked rough in the morning light, buildings with peeling paint, chain-link fences, weeds growing through sidewalk cracks. Marcus was used to it. It was home. But seeing it through Elle's eyes made him notice it differently. "Do you always work this early?" Ella asked. "When I can get shifts. I'm a janitor. Work nights mostly at the community center and a couple offices downtown. The pay's not great, but the hours let me be there for my kids during the day." "That must be exhausting." "It is what it is." Ella was quiet for another block, then, "Can I ask what happened to their mother? You don't have to answer if it's too personal." Marcus had learned to answer this question without falling apart. Took practice, but he could do it now. "Heart attack 3 years ago. She was only 32. Doctors said it was a genetic thing. Something nobody knew about until it was too late." "I'm so sorry." "Me too." They turned a corner and Elle pointed. "There. That's my car." It was a BMW. Sleek, black, expensive, completely out of place in this neighborhood. Someone had already tagged it with spray paint on one side, probably kids taking advantage of the storm to cause trouble. "Oh no," Elle breathed, seeing the graffiti. Marcus walked around the car. The tires were fine, windows intact. He tried the door, locked. "You got keys?" Ella pulled them from her bag with shaking hands. Marcus unlocked the door and popped the hood. The engine looked clean, well-maintained. He checked the obvious things: battery connections, fluid levels, anything that might have shaken loose. "Try starting it," he said. Ella slid into the driver's seat and turned the key. Nothing. Not even a click. "Battery's dead," Marcus said. "Maybe from leaving the lights on, or maybe it was going bad already and the storm finished it off." "Can it be jumped?" "Yeah, if we had another car, which I don't." Ella rested her forehead on the steering wheel. Of course this is happening." Marcus pulled out his phone. Still no signal. He tried anyway, walking in a small circle, holding the phone up high. Nothing. "Towers are still down," he said. "Might be hours before they're back up. Maybe longer." Ella looked at him, and he could see her composure cracking again. "What do I do? You got roadside assistance?" "Yes, but I need my phone to call them." "Okay, so we wait until we can get a signal, then you call. In the meantime, you can't leave your car here. Not in this neighborhood. It'll be stripped by tonight." "Stripped?" "Parts stolen. Happens all the time, especially to nice cars." Ella looked horrified. "But what can I do? I can't stay here guarding it." Marcus thought for a moment. Against his better judgment, he said, "There's a motel 6 blocks from here. Not fancy, but it's safe. You could stay there. Keep trying your phone, call for help when you get a signal. I don't even know if they'll have power. They got a generator. I've seen it. Marcus could see her struggling, pride fighting with practicality. Look, it's up to you, but standing here waiting isn't going to help anything. Elle looked at her car, her expensive, vandalized, dead car, and something in her seemed to give up. Okay, the motel. Would you mind showing me where it is? Yeah, come on. They walked 6 more blocks. Ella's limp got worse. Marcus finally insisted she take his arm for support, which she did reluctantly. Her hand on his forearm felt strange, intimate. He tried not to think about it. The Starlight Motel looked exactly like what it was. Cheap, basic, clean enough to be safe, but not much more. The parking lot had a few cars. Lights were on inside, which meant the generator was working. Marcus walked Elle to the office. The clerk, a tired-looking man in his 50s, barely looked up. Room for one. Just tonight, Elle said. $60. Cash or card? Elle pulled out her wallet. Her hands were shaking again as she handed over her credit card. The machine took forever to process it, but finally it went through. Room 12, around the back. Checkouts at 11. The clerk handed her a physical key on a plastic tag. No refunds? Thank you. Room 12 was small, a bed, a TV, a bathroom with a shower that had probably seen better days. But it was warm and it was private, and Elle looked relieved just to have a door she could close. Thank you, she said to Marcus, for everything. I don't know what I would have done without you. You would have figured it out. I don't know about that. Elle sat on the edge of the bed, suddenly looking exhausted. I'm not as capable as I pretend to be. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. You need anything else? No, I'll keep trying my phone. Once I get through to roadside assistance, I'll get my car towed and figure out getting back home. She looked up at him. Where is home for you? I mean, I know your apartment, but what part of the city? We're in the east side, near the warehouse district. I live downtown, 20th floor of a high-rise. Ella smiled sadly. 4,500 square feet, views of the river, and I've never felt more alone in my life than I have in that apartment. Marcus didn't know what to say to that. He knew loneliness, knew it intimately, but he had his kids, had purpose. This woman had success and money and all the things people were supposed to want, and she was just as lost as anyone. I should get back, he said finally. My kids will worry. Of course. I'm sorry for keeping you. Ella stood, then hesitated. Marcus, would it be okay if could I maybe call you later? When I get my phone charged, just to thank you properly? You don't need to thank me. I know, but I'd like to. She pulled a business card from her bag. Professional, cream-colored, her name embossed in elegant script. My number's on there, if you want. Marcus took the card, unsure why he was taking it. Okay. He left before the moment could get more awkward. Walked back to his apartment through streets that were starting to come alive with people assessing storm damage, exchanging stories, helping neighbors clear debris. Mrs. Alvarez was teaching the kids a card game when Marcus got back. She looked up, her expression knowing. Everything sorted? For now. That woman in trouble? Her car broke down. That's all. Mrs. Alvarez studied him. You be careful, Marcus. Rich people have rich people problems. You don't need that in your life. I'm just helping a stranger. Nothing more. If you say so. Mrs. Alvarez gathered her cards. But I've seen that look before. That's the look of a man who's starting to care. You're seeing things. Maybe. Maybe not. She stood, patted his shoulder. Just be careful. Your heart's already been through enough. After she left, Marcus tried to go about his day normally, played cards with the kids, read stories to Aliyah, helped Jamal with homework. But his mind kept drifting to Elle in that motel room, trying to figure out her next move. Around 2 in the afternoon, the power came back on. The lights flickered, then held. The refrigerator hummed to life. The TV blared. Marcus had forgotten it was on when the power went out. Aaliyah cheered. Marcus's phone buzzed. Texts coming through all at once from the overnight. Nothing important. Then a new message appeared from an unknown number. "This is L. Power's back. I got through to roadside assistance. They're sending a tow truck in a few hours. Just wanted you to know, and to thank you again." Marcus stared at the message. He should just reply with something simple. "Good luck" or "glad you're okay," and leave it at that. But his fingers typed something different. "There's a diner on Market Street. Ernie's, if you want coffee before you head home." He hit send before he could overthink it, then immediately regretted it. What was he doing? This woman lived in a different world. Once her car was fixed, she'd go back to that world and forget all about the night she spent in a stranger's apartment during a storm. His phone buzzed. What time? Marcus looked at his kids. Jamal was reading. Aaliyah was coloring. Both safe, both occupied. 4 o'clock, he typed. "I'll be there." Ernie's Diner was the kind of place that had been there forever and would probably be there forevermore. Red vinyl booths, chrome edges, a counter with spinning stools. The coffee was always hot, the pie was decent, and nobody bothered you if you wanted to sit for hours nursing a cup. Marcus got there at 3:55. He'd left the kids with Mrs. Alvarez again, promised her it was just coffee, nothing to worry about. She'd given him that look again, the one that said she wasn't fooled, but she'd agreed. Elle arrived exactly at 4. She'd changed clothes, jeans and a simple blouse, still nice but less formal. Her hair was pulled back. No makeup that Marcus could see. She looked more real somehow. She slid into the booth across from him. "Hi, hi." They both smiled, awkward. The waitress, Linda, who'd worked at Ernie's since before Marcus was born, came over with her order pad. "What'll it be?" "Coffee, please," Elle said. "Black." "Same," Marcus added. Linda poured from a pot that seemed permanently attached to her hand, then left them alone. "So," Elle said, "tow truck should be here in about an hour. They're taking it to a shop downtown. Battery for sure, maybe something else. Won't know until they look at it." "That's good. At least you'll get answers." "Yeah." Elle wrapped her hands around her coffee mug. "I called my assistant, too. Told her I'd been stuck by the storm. She sounded relieved. Apparently, I'm not great about checking in." "You live alone. Who would you check in with?" "Exactly." Elle took a sip of coffee, made a face. "This is terrible." "Yeah, but it's hot." "True." She set the mug down. "Marcus, can I ask you something? And please be honest." "Okay." "Why did you offer to have coffee with me?" Marcus thought about it. "I don't know. Felt like the right thing to do. Just being kind to a stranger? Maybe, or maybe." He stopped, not sure how to put it into words. "You seemed like you needed someone to talk to. Not just about car troubles, about everything." Ella looked down at her coffee. "You're right. I do." She was quiet for a long moment. "I have everything I'm supposed to want. Success, money, independence. But I'm so lonely, Marcus, all the time, every single day." "I know that feeling." "Do you?" "Because you have your kids. You have purpose. You have people who need you. And you don't? My clients need me. My assistant needs me. But that's not the same. Nobody would care if I just disappeared. Not really, not personally." Marcus watched her carefully. "That's a sad way to live." "I know, and I don't know how to change it." Ella looked up at him. "Last night, in your apartment with your kids and your soup and your candles, that's the most at home I've felt in years. How messed up is that?" "It's not messed up. It's honest." They sat in silence for a while, drinking their terrible coffee, watching other customers come and go. Outside, the city was getting back to normal after the storm, life moving on, like it always did. "Can I tell you something?" Elle said suddenly. "Something I've never told anyone? If you want. I don't actually like my life. I built this whole career, this whole identity, and I don't even like it. But I don't know how to do anything else. The architecture dream, that journal I showed you, that's real. That's what I wanted. But it was impractical, so I chose business instead. And now I'm stuck." "You're not stuck. You're just scared." Ella laughed, but her eyes were wet. "Same thing." "No. Stuck means you have no choice. Scared means you have choices. You're just too afraid to make them." "And which one are you?" Elle asked. "Stuck or scared?" Marcus considered this honestly. "Both, probably. I'm stuck because I have responsibilities, but I'm also scared of what might happen if I let myself want more than just survival." "Like what? Like being happy, like letting someone in." He met her eyes. "Like this." The air between them shifted. Something unspoken passing back and forth. Elle reached across the table and touched his hand, just her fingertips against his knuckles, a small gesture that felt enormous. "I like talking to you," she said softly. "I like talking to you too. Can we do this again? Talk, I mean, even after I get my car fixed and go home?" Marcus knew he should say no, knew this woman lived in a different world and nothing good could come from trying to bridge that gap. But he heard himself say, "Yeah, we can do that." Elle smiled. A real smile this time, not guarded or careful, just genuine. They talked for another hour, about small things, big things, everything in between. Marcus told her about Jamal's love of science, about Aliya's endless questions. Elle told him about growing up with parents who expected perfection, about always feeling like she was performing instead of living. When Elle's phone buzzed with the tow truck notification, they both looked disappointed. "I guess that's my cue," Elle said. "Yeah." They walked outside together. The sun was starting to set, painting everything gold. Ella's tow truck was just pulling up to the diner. "Thank you," Ella said, "for everything, for letting me in during the storm, for the coffee, for listening." "You don't have to keep thanking me." "I know, but I want to." She squeezed his hand briefly. "I'll text you when I'm home and settled, if that's okay." "It's okay." Elle walked toward the tow truck, then turned back. "Marcus, last night you said dreams are just waiting for the right time. Do you really believe that?" Marcus thought about his life, about Janelle's death, about single fatherhood, about barely surviving from one day to the next, about how he'd given up on wanting anything more than keeping his kids safe and fed. And then he thought about this unexpected woman who'd appeared in his doorway during a storm and somehow made him feel less alone. "Yeah," he said. "I think I do." Ella nodded, smiled one more time, and climbed into the tow truck. Marcus watched her leave, feeling something shift inside him, something that felt like hope and fear mixed together. Mrs. Alvarez was right. He was starting to care. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. 3 days passed. Marcus went back to his normal routine, night shifts, kids, sleep when he could get it. But everything felt different now, like the storm had rearranged something inside him and he couldn't quite put it back the way it was. Ella texted twice, once to say her car was fixed, new battery, some wiring that had corroded, and she was home safe. Once to share a photo of a sketch she'd done, a building design she'd been thinking about for years. Still just a dream, she'd written, but it felt good to draw it. Marcus had stared at that photo for a long time before responding. Dreams start somewhere. This is somewhere. Now it was Saturday morning, and Marcus was making breakfast when his phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Hi, it's Elle." Her voice sounded nervous. I hope it's okay that I'm calling. It's fine. What's up? I was wondering, would you and your kids want to get lunch today? My treat. I feel like I owe you more than just thank yous. Marcus hesitated. Jamal was already suspicious about Elle. Taking her charity, because that's what free lunch was really, would make it worse. You don't owe us anything, he said. I know, but I'd like to. Please, just lunch. Somewhere casual. Elle? I don't have friends, Marcus. I have colleagues and contacts and people who want something from me, but not friends, and I'd like to be your friend, if you'll let me. Something in her voice, the raw honesty of it, made Marcus's resolve crack. Okay, but somewhere cheap. And you let me pay half. Deal, Elle sounded relieved. There's a pizza place on 5th Street. Tony's? I know it. Noon? Perfect. See you then. After hanging up, Marcus turned to find Jamal watching him from the kitchen doorway. That was her, wasn't it? Jamal said. The lady from the storm. Yeah, she wants to buy us lunch, to say thank you. We don't need her charity. It's not charity, buddy. It's just friends getting pizza. She's not our friend. She's some rich lady who needed help once. Marcus sat down at the table, gesturing for Jamal to join him. His son came over reluctantly. Talk to me, Marcus said. What's really bothering you? Jamal picked at the tablecloth. What if you start liking her? And if I do? Then she'll leave, like Mom did. And you'll be sad again. And I don't want you to be sad again. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Jamal had been 8 when Janelle died. Old enough to remember. Old enough to understand. Old enough to see how his father had barely held it together. I can't promise I won't ever be sad, Marcus said carefully. Life doesn't work that way. But I can promise that I'll always be here for you and your sister, no matter what. But what if she makes you want more, want things we can't have? Like what? Like a different life, a better life, without us. Jamal. Marcus pulled his son close. There is no life I want that doesn't include you and Aaliyah. You two are everything to me. You understand? Jamal nodded against his father's chest. I just don't want things to change. Things always change, buddy. That's not bad. It's just life. Tony's Pizza was loud and crowded, which was good. Less pressure for conversation. Ella was already there when they arrived, sitting in a booth near the back. She'd dressed down again, jeans, a sweater, her hair in a simple ponytail. Aaliyah ran over immediately. Hi, Miss Elle. Hi, sweetheart. Look how pretty you look today. Aaliyah beamed, showing off her dress, purple with white flowers, her favorite. Jamal followed more slowly, his expression guarded. They ordered pizza, large pepperoni, because that's what the kids liked, and sat down. Aaliyah chattered about school, about her dolls, about everything and nothing. Ella listened with what seemed like genuine interest, asking questions, laughing at Aaliyah's stories. Jamal stayed quiet, watching Elle carefully, evaluating. When the pizza came, they ate mostly in silence. It was good pizza. Tony's had been around forever for a reason. Aaliyah got sauce on her face. Jamal ate 3 slices. Marcus tried not to think about how much this was costing Elle, even though she'd insisted. After lunch, Elle excused herself to the bathroom. The moment she was gone, Jamal leaned forward. She keeps looking at you weird. What do you mean weird? I don't know, like she's trying to figure something out. Maybe she is. Do you like her, Dad? Like her? Marcus considered lying, then decided against it. I don't know yet. Maybe. But that doesn't change anything with you guys. Everything changes when adults start liking each other. I'm not stupid. I never said you were. Ella returned, and the conversation stopped. But Marcus could feel his son's worry like a physical presence. Outside, after lunch, Elle walked with them toward the bus stop. Aaliyah held her hand, chattering away. Jamal stayed close to Marcus. Thank you for coming, Elle said. I had a really nice time. Thank you for lunch, Marcus replied. Can we see you again? Aaliyah asked. Please? Ella looked at Marcus, uncertain. He nodded slightly. I'd like that, Elle said. If it's okay with your dad, it's okay. They said goodbye at the bus stop. Ella watched them board, waving at Aaliyah until the bus pulled away. Marcus caught her expression through the window, longing, maybe, or loneliness. On the bus ride home, Aaliyah fell asleep against Marcus's shoulder. Jamal stared out the window, his jaw tight. You doing okay, buddy? Marcus asked. I guess. Talk to me. Jamal was quiet for a long moment. She bought us lunch because she feels sorry for us. That's all it is. I don't think that's true. Why else would someone like her hang out with people like us? Marcus's chest hurt. Because maybe she's lonely, and maybe we're good people. Those things can both be true at the same time. Or maybe she's just bored. And when she gets unbored, she'll disappear. Marcus didn't have a good answer for that, because Jamal might be right. Rich people did get bored, did move on to the next thing. Marcus had seen it happen before, but something about Elle felt different, more real, more broken in a way that matched his own brokenness. Let's just see what happens, Marcus said finally. One day at a time. Jamal didn't respond, just kept staring out the window at the city passing by. That night, after the kids were in bed, Marcus sat on the small balcony off the kitchen, barely big enough for one chair, but it was outside, and sometimes that was enough. His phone buzzed. I had a wonderful time today, Elle had texted. Your kids are amazing, especially Aaliyah. She reminds me of who I used to be. Before I learned to be careful. Marcus typed back, Jamal's struggling with this. With you. He's protective. I understand. I'm a stranger, and I'm different from you. That's scary for a kid. It's scary for me too, Marcus admitted. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, me too. But I don't want to stop. Is that selfish? I don't know. Maybe. But I don't want to stop either. So where does that leave us? Marcus thought about it, figuring it out as we go. I can do that. If you can. Yeah, I can do that. They texted for another hour. About small things mostly, what they'd done that day, what they were thinking about. Normal conversation that felt anything but normal because of who they were and where they came from. Finally, Elle wrote, I should let you sleep. You have work tomorrow. Yeah. Good night, Elle. Good night, Marcus. Thank you for giving me a chance. Marcus set down his phone and looked out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Elle was in her expensive apartment, probably looking at those same lights. 2 people in the same city, living completely different lives, somehow finding each other anyway. It should have been impossible, but here they were. Over the next 2 weeks, a pattern developed. Elle would text. They'd meet for coffee or walk in the park or just talk on the phone late at night when the kids were asleep and Marcus's shift was over. She never pushed for more than he was willing to give, never made him feel small for his life or his circumstances. Slowly, Jamal started to thaw. Not much, but a little. Ella asked him about school, about his interests, and actually listened to his answers. She didn't try to buy his affection. No more gifts, no more expensive lunches unless Marcus agreed to split the cost. Aaliyah, predictably, was already in love. She drew pictures for Elle, saved jokes to tell her, asked daily when they'd see her again. Mrs. Alvarez watched it all with worried eyes but said nothing. Theo, Marcus's co-worker, was less subtle. Man, you're playing with fire, Theo said during their shift one night. Rich white girl slumming it with the poor black janitor? That story never ends well. She's not slumming it. Then what's she doing? Being lonely, same as me. Theo shook his head. Just be careful. People like that, they have safety nets. You fall, and there's nothing to catch you. Marcus knew Theo was right. Knew he should be more careful. But something about Elle made him want to take the risk. 3 weeks after the storm, Elle called instead of texting. Her voice sounded strange. "Can we meet tomorrow? I need to talk to you about something." Marcus's stomach dropped. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I need to tell you something. In person." They met at a park near Marcus's apartment. Ella was already there when he arrived, sitting on a bench, looking nervous. "Hey," Marcus said, sitting beside her. "Hi." Ella took a breath. "I've been offered a job. In Seattle, major consulting firm. It's everything I'm supposed to want. More money, more prestige, more everything." Marcus felt cold. "That's great. Congratulations." "I turned it down." "What?" "I turned it down." Elle looked at him. "Because I don't want to leave. I don't want to go back to that life, the one where I'm successful and empty. I want something different." "Ella, I know what you're going to say, that I'm being impulsive, that I barely know you, that I'm throwing away my career for." "For what?" "For pizza and coffee and conversations with a man who works night shifts?" She laughed, but it sounded shaky. "But Marcus, I've never been happier than these past few weeks. And I know that's crazy, but it's true." Marcus didn't know what to say. Part of him was thrilled. Part of him was terrified. "What are you going to do?" he asked. "For work, I mean." "I don't know yet. Maybe freelance. Maybe finally take a real risk and go back to school for architecture." She touched his hand. "I know this is a lot. I know I'm putting pressure on you by saying this, but I needed to be honest. I appreciate that. But I have kids, Ella. Everything I do, every choice I make, has to be good for them first. And I don't know if this," he gestured between them, "is good for them. Or if it's just me being selfish." Elle pulled her hand back. "I understand. Do you? Because your life is yours to change. Mine isn't just mine. I'm responsible for 2 other people. 2 people who've already lost so much. I know that. I'm not asking you to choose me over them." "Then what are you asking?" Elle was quiet for a long moment. "I'm asking if there's room in your life for me. Not to replace anything or anyone. Just to be there. To be part of it." Marcus looked at this woman who'd stumbled into his life during a storm and somehow worked her way into his heart. He thought about Jamal's fears, about Aliyah's easy affection, about his own terror of losing someone again. "I don't know," he said honestly. "I want to say yes, but I'm scared." "So am I." "Then maybe we're both crazy." "Maybe." Elle smiled slightly. "Or maybe we're just tired of being alone." They sat in silence for a while, watching kids play on the swings, dogs chasing balls, life happening all around them. Finally, Marcus said, "If we do this, whatever this is, we do it slow, we do it right, with my kids' feelings first. I wouldn't want it any other way. And you have to be sure, because if you're going to leave anyway, leave now. Don't let my kids get more attached." Ella looked at him directly. "I'm not leaving. Not unless you tell me to." "Okay." Marcus took her hand. "Okay, we'll try this. Slow." "Slow," Elle agreed. They sat together, hands linked, both terrified and hopeful in equal measure. Neither one sure where this would lead. Both willing to find out anyway. That evening, Marcus told the kids. Aliyah cheered. Jamal looked sick. "She's not going to be your new mom," Marcus said quickly. "Nobody's replacing your mother. Ever. But Ella is. She's important to me. And I hope in time she can be important to you guys too." "What if it doesn't work out?" Jamal asked. "What if she leaves?" "Then we'll deal with it. Together. Like we always do." "I don't want to deal with it. I just want things to stay the same." Marcus pulled Jamal into a hug. "I know, buddy. Change is scary, but staying the same forever isn't living. It's just surviving. Maybe surviving is enough. Is it? Really? Jamal didn't answer, but he didn't pull away either. Later, after the kids were asleep, Marcus called Elle. "I told them," he said. "How did it go?" "Aaliyah's thrilled, Jamal's terrified, pretty much what I expected." "And you? How are you?" Marcus thought about it. Terrified, but also hopeful. Haven't felt that in a long time. "Me neither." Elle's voice was soft. "Thank you for taking a chance on me. Thank you for being someone worth taking a chance on." They talked until Marcus had to leave for his shift. As he walked through the dark streets toward work, Marcus looked up at the sky. No storm tonight. Just stars. Just possibility. Maybe that was enough. The next 3 weeks were the hardest and best of Marcus's life. Hard because navigating a new relationship while parenting 2 grieving kids was like walking a tightrope in the dark. Best because, for the first time in years, he felt like a person, and not just a father and a worker. Ella was patient, more patient than Marcus expected. She didn't push for more time than he could give. Didn't complain when plans changed because Aaliyah got sick or Jamal had a school event. She showed up when she said she would, and when she couldn't, she explained why. Slowly, grudgingly, Jamal began to accept her presence. Not warmly, but without hostility. The turning point came on a Tuesday afternoon. Marcus had the day off, rare, and Elle had suggested they all go to the Science Museum. Marcus had hesitated. Museums cost money, but Elle had insisted on covering it, and this time, when Jamal started to protest, Elle had stopped him. "I know you don't like me paying for things," she'd said directly, "and I respect that, but I have money I don't need, and you have a family who deserves nice experiences. Let me do this. Not because you need charity, but because I want to." Jamal had looked at his father. Marcus had nodded, and that was that. The museum was everything Jamal loved. Interactive exhibits, space displays, robotics demonstrations. For 2 hours, Marcus watched his serious, guarded son light up with excitement, explaining concepts to Elle, showing her his favorite exhibits. Elle listened like every word mattered, asked questions that weren't condescending, treated Jamal like someone worth learning from. On the bus ride home, Jamal sat next to Elle instead of Marcus. Didn't say much, but the gesture was everything. That night, after the kids were in bed, Marcus sat with Elle on his building's front steps. The neighborhood was quiet, just distant traffic and someone's music playing softly. "Thank you," Marcus said, "for today, for being patient with Jamal. He's a good kid, smart. He just needs to know I'm not trying to replace his mother or take his father away." "Are you? Trying to take me away?" Ella looked at him. "I'm trying to be with you. There's a difference." Marcus took her hand. It was the first time they'd held hands deliberately, not just in passing. Her palm was soft against his calloused one. Different, but it fit. "I think I'm falling for you," Marcus said quietly. "And that scares the hell out of me. Because you might lose me? Because I might fail you. I don't have much to offer, Ella. I work nights cleaning buildings. I live paycheck to paycheck. My life is small and hard and full of love," Elle interrupted. "Your kids adore you. You show up for them every single day. You're kind to strangers even when it costs you. That's not small, Marcus. That's everything. You say that now. I say that because it's true." Elle shifted to face him fully. "You think I don't know what I'm choosing? I had the big job offer. I had the successful career. And none of it made me feel the way I feel when I'm eating pizza with your family or watching Aaliyah show me her drawings or seeing you be an amazing father." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I don't want you to regret this." "Then don't give me reason to." They sat in silence for a while. Then Ellie's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and winced. "It's my mother. I have to take this." She stepped away, and Marcus tried not to listen, but her voice carried in the quiet night. "No, Mother, I'm not reconsidering, because I don't want that life anymore. It's not about him. It's about me. You don't understand." Marcus's stomach tightened. He'd known this moment would come, had known Elle's family wouldn't approve. Why would they? He was nobody. Nothing. Elle returned, her face pale. "I'm sorry. That was—" "Your mother doesn't like me." "She doesn't know you. She just knows you're not what she expected. She's right to worry. I'm not good enough for you." "Marcus, no. Listen, I've been thinking about this. What happens when the novelty wears off, when you realize slumming it with the poor single dad isn't as romantic as it seemed?" Ella's expression hardened. "Is that what you think this is? Slumming it? Isn't it? How dare you?" Ella's voice shook. "I turned down my dream job. I'm disappointing my entire family. I'm changing my whole life. And you think it's because I'm bored? I think it's because you're lonely. And I'm convenient." The words hung between them like poison. Elle stood up, her eyes wet. "You know what? Maybe I should go. Maybe you're right. Maybe this was a mistake." She started walking away. Marcus watched her go, his heart breaking, knowing he should stop her and not knowing how. Then he thought about Jamal's words. What if she leaves? And Marcus realized he was making it happen, was pushing her away before she could leave on her own, because that's what scared people did. They destroyed things before they could be destroyed. "Ellie, wait." She stopped, but didn't turn around. Marcus stood, walked to her. "I'm sorry, I'm scared, and I'm lashing out, and that's not fair to you." "No, it's not. You're right, about everything. I'm trying to sabotage this because I'm terrified of losing you. But pushing you away isn't protecting me, it's just being a coward." Elle turned around. Tears were running down her face. "I can't fight you and my family at the same time, Marcus. I need you to be on my side." "I am. I will be. I promise." "Do you trust me?" Marcus thought about it honestly. "I'm trying to. That's all I'm asking. Just try." He pulled her close, and she pressed her face against his chest. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other in the darkness, both terrified, both hoping they were strong enough to see this through. 3 days passed. Marcus tried to give Elle space, but everything felt wrong without her. The apartment felt emptier. The kids asked about her constantly. Even Jamal seemed concerned. "Did you and Miss Elle have a fight?" he asked one evening. "Sort of." "Are you going to fix it?" Marcus looked at his son. "I'm trying, but I don't know if I messed it up too badly." "You didn't," Aaliyah said, appearing with her usual perfect timing. "Miss Elle loves you. I can tell." "How can you tell?" "Because she looks at you the way you look at her, like you're both happy and sad at the same time. Out of the mouths of children." That night, Marcus made a decision. He called Elle. "Hi," she answered, her voice careful. "I've been thinking about what you said, about being on your side, and you're right. You need that. You deserve that." "Marcus, let me finish. I can't promise I won't get scared again. I probably will. This is all new for me. Letting someone in, trusting someone not to leave, but I want to try, really try, if you'll still have me." Elle was quiet for a long moment. "I'll still have you. But Marcus, we need to be honest with each other. When we're scared, when we're doubting, we have to talk about it, not just push each other away. I can do that. Promise?" "Promise." "Okay." Elle's voice softened. "Can I see you tomorrow?" "Yeah. Come for dinner. I'll cook." "You cook?" "Sort of. I mean, I can heat things up. That counts, right?" Ella laughed, and Marcus felt something in his chest unlock. "That counts. I'll bring dessert." The next evening, Elle arrived at 6 with a box from the bakery on Maple Street. She hugged Aaliyah, nodded at Jamal, and kissed Marcus on the cheek, the first time she'd done that in front of the kids. Aaliyah giggled. Jamal looked away but didn't protest. Dinner was spaghetti with sauce from a jar. Nothing fancy. But they ate together around the small table, and it felt right. It felt like family. After dinner, Elle helped Aaliyah with her homework while Marcus did dishes. Jamal retreated to his room but left his door open, his way of saying he was okay with Elle being there. Later, after the kids were in bed, Marcus and Elle sat on the couch. Not touching, just sitting close. "I talked to my mother again," Elle said. "Told her I was serious about this, about you." "How'd that go?" "Not well. She thinks I'm throwing my life away. My father hasn't spoken to me since I turned down the Seattle job." Elle's voice was steady, but Marcus could hear the pain underneath. "But I meant what I said. I'm not leaving. Even if your family never accepts me?" "Even then. Though I'm hoping, in time, they'll see what I see." "Which is?" Elle turned to look at him. "A good man, a wonderful father. Someone who makes me want to be better than I was." Marcus kissed her, soft and careful. She kissed him back, her hand on his face. When they pulled apart, Elle smiled. "We're doing this, really doing this." "Yeah, we are." "I'm terrified." "Me too." "Good. At least we're terrified together." The weeks that followed weren't easy. Ellie's family remained distant. Marcus's co-worker Theo kept warning him about getting hurt. Mrs. Alvarez watched them with cautious approval, but Marcus could tell she was worried too. But slowly, carefully, they built something real. Elle started freelancing, taking smaller consulting jobs that let her work from home. She enrolled in an online architecture program, finally chasing the dream she'd given up years ago. Her sketches became more detailed, more confident. Marcus adjusted his shifts so he could spend more time with his family, the family that now, tentatively, included Elle. She came to Aaliyah's school recital, to Jamal's science fair. She learned how to make box mac and cheese, how to navigate the bus system, how to exist in a world that didn't revolve around money and status. She wasn't perfect at it. Sometimes she said the wrong thing or tried to solve problems with money when what was needed was presence. But she learned, and she stayed. 4 months after the storm, on a Saturday morning, Marcus woke to find Elle in his kitchen making breakfast. Aaliyah was helping her, standing on a chair to reach the counter. Jamal was setting the table without being asked. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching, his heart too full for words. Jamal saw him first. "Dad, morning." "Morning, buddy." Elle turned, smiled. "I'm making scrambled eggs. Hope that's okay." "More than okay." They ate breakfast together, all 4 of them, talking about their plans for the day. Nothing special. Laundry, grocery shopping, maybe a walk in the park if the weather held. Normal things. Family things. After breakfast, while the kids were getting dressed, Elle pulled Marcus aside. "I have something to tell you." Marcus's stomach dropped. "Okay. I got accepted to the architecture program at the State University. Full-time, starting in the fall. It means I'll be a student again, living on loans and savings, no more consulting money." "Elle, that's amazing. It also means I'll be poor, like really poor. I won't be able to help out as much." "I don't need you to help out. I never did. I just need you to be here." Elle's eyes filled with tears. "I love you, Marcus. I should have said it before, but I was scared. But I love you. And I love your kids. And I want this to be my life, not the old one, not the safe one. This one." Marcus pulled her close. "I love you too, and I'm still terrified. But I'm done letting fear make my decisions." They held each other while morning light filled the kitchen, while kids laughed in the next room, while life happened around them in all its messy, beautiful glory. That evening, they all went to the park, the same park where Marcus and Ella had first talked about taking chances. Aaliyah ran ahead, chasing pigeons. Jamal walked beside Marcus, his hands in his pockets. "Dad?" Jamal said quietly. "Yeah, buddy. I think Mom would have liked Miss Ella." Marcus stopped walking. "You do?" "Yeah, Mom always said you needed someone who'd challenge you, make you be brave. Miss L does that." Marcus's throat was tight. "Your mom was a smart woman." "I know." Jamal looked up at him. "And Dad, I'm okay with this, with her. I was scared before, but I think it's going to be okay." "I think so too." They caught up with Ella and Aaliyah near the swings. Aaliyah demanded to be pushed, and Elle complied, laughing as Aaliyah shrieked with delight. Jamal joined them, taking the next swing over. Marcus stood back, watching his family, because that's what they were now, officially or not, his family. Ella caught his eye and smiled. Not the careful, guarded smile from before, a real smile. Happy and free and full of hope. Marcus smiled back. A year ago, he'd been surviving, going through motions, doing what needed to be done because that's what fathers did. Now he was living, really living, not just for his kids, but for himself, too. The storm had brought Elle to his door, but it was choice, his choice, her choice. Both of them choosing courage over fear. That had built what they had now, and what they had was enough. More than enough. It was home. 6 months later, Marcus stood in Elle's small apartment. She'd given up the luxury high-rise for a modest 2-bedroom near Marcus's place, helping her hang her newest sketch on the wall. It was a design for a community center, something she'd been working on for school. "It's perfect," Marcus said. "It's just a drawing. For now, but someday it'll be real." Elle leaned against him. "You really believe that?" "Yeah, I do." The doorbell rang. Marcus answered it to find Mrs. Alvarez holding a casserole dish. "Thought you kids could use a proper meal," she said, bustling inside. "You both work too hard to cook. Mrs. Alvarez, you didn't have to—" "Hush! It's already done." She set the dish on the counter, then looked around the apartment. "This is good. This is right. You two," she pointed at them both. "You're doing something special here. Don't let anyone tell you different." After she left, Marcus and Elle set the table. The kids arrived. Theo was watching them for the afternoon, and they all sat down to eat. Dinner conversation flowed easily. Aaliyah talked about her art project. Jamal explained a science concept he'd learned. Ella shared news about her architecture program. Marcus just listened, soaking it all in. After dinner, they played cards. Aaliyah won, she always won, and insisted on a rematch. They played until Jamal was yawning and Aaliyah could barely keep her eyes open. Marcus walked the kids back to his apartment, got them ready for bed. When he returned to Elle's place, she was cleaning up, humming softly. "Hey," he said. "Hey yourself." She turned to face him. "Thank you." "For what?" "For giving me a family. I know they're yours, but they feel like mine too." "Is that okay?" "More than okay." Marcus pulled her close. "You know what I think about sometimes?" "What?" "That storm. If it hadn't happened, if your car hadn't died, if you hadn't knocked on my door, we never would have met." Scary thought. "Yeah, but also, I don't know, makes me believe in something. Fate, maybe. Or just the idea that good things can come from bad situations." Ella rested her head on his chest. "I used to think I had my whole life figured out, knew exactly where I was going. Now I have no idea, and somehow that's better." "Because you're not alone in the not knowing." "Exactly." They swayed together in the quiet kitchen, no music, just the sound of each other breathing. Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere, another storm was probably forming. Somewhere, someone was lost and scared and looking for shelter. But here, in this moment, Marcus and Elle had found what they were looking for. Not perfection, not a fairy tale. Just two broken people who'd chosen to be brave enough to heal together. And that was the greatest gift of all. 1 year after the storm, almost to the day, the sky turned dark again. Marcus watched the clouds roll in, remembering another evening just like this one. His phone rang. Elle. "Should I come over?" she asked. "The weather looks bad." "Yeah, come over, bring your drawings. The kids want to see your latest project." "Be there in 20. Marcus looked around his apartment. It looked different now. Ellie's sketches on the walls, her books on the shelf. Small signs that someone else lived here too, not officially, not yet, but getting there. Aaliyah was drawing at the kitchen table. Jamal was reading on the couch. Normal evening. Normal life. Except it wasn't normal. It was extraordinary. Because a year ago, Marcus had been alone. Now he had someone who chose him every day, despite everything. The storm broke just as Elle arrived. She burst through the door, laughing, soaked through just like the first time. "Some things never change," she said, wringing out her hair. Marcus handed her a towel, the same one he'd given her that first night. She took it, smiling at the memory. "Remember when you didn't trust me?" Ella said. "I remember being terrified of you." "And now?" Marcus kissed her forehead. "Now you're home." Thunder rolled overhead. The lights flickered but held. The kids gathered around Elle, excited to see her, pulling her toward the table to show her what they'd been working on. Marcus watched them, his family complete and whole, and felt a peace he'd never expected to find. Life was still hard, money was still tight, the future was still uncertain, but he wasn't facing it alone. None of them were, and that made all the difference. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, there was warmth and light and love. And Marcus Reed, single father, night janitor, survivor, realized that sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected places. Sometimes they come from opening your door during a storm. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to let them stay, they change your life forever.